The Galaxy S7 is a refinement of the design from the S6, with a couple of features, let's say, returning this time around. It's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And this is your first look at the Samsung Galaxy S7. Now, while this year there is a Galaxy S7 and a S7 Edge, the S7 Edge is the larger of the two devices as it will come in at 5.5 inches and the original S7 will have 5.1 inches in its screen. Overall, that means that this metal frame with the dual glass panels is going to feel pretty easy in the hand, especially for one-handed usage. But as is the case with both of these devices, the backings are now both curved. It's almost as if they took a shrink ray to the Galaxy Note 5. Those curves do make the phone really sit nicely in the hand, and the ergonomics are even better this time around. But overall, this is the same type of phone that you might remember from the Galaxy S6 with only a few little refinements. For example, the camera bump has been minimized on the backing, of course, and the front home button is a little bit more flush with the actual body itself. Probably one of the best additions on this phone is a returning feature from the Galaxy S5, water and dust resistance. What we have here is an IP68 rating, so it will be able to take a splash and even a tumble and still be able to keep kicking. And as long as we are talking about returning features, we do have the micro SD card slot coming back to the Galaxy line. It is now part of the dual SIM tray, so you should be able to have dual SIMs or just replace one with a micro SD card slot in order to bolster the onboard storage. The display is the same AMOLED screen that comes in at Quad HD resolution and is 5.1 inches in size, and that means high pixel density along with all of the colors that pretty much pop out and punch you in the face. That means a pretty enjoyable experience on here, however, and if it's any indication from the Note 5 and the S6 before it, the S7 should still provide a pretty great experience when it comes to viewing media, games, and text. But the addition of an always-on display is available here, and the always-on display is able to show the time and the date, a calendar, a quick calendar, or a certain personalized image. Now, we went into the settings on the always on display in the settings, and we saw that there were only a few different images and they weren't necessarily user defined. Nonetheless, it is using the AMOLED display to its good potential, only turning on the various pixels that are needed in order to show the time or any other parts that you want to have on there. Kind of true to form, during our meeting, Samsung did not want to disclose what the processor is, but we expect that it will indeed be the Exynos 8890, as plenty of leaks and various rumors were suspecting. Speaking of the processor, however, Samsung has found a way to keep it cool under intense load, especially during gaming. There's actually a copper pipe that will run next to the processor that has water inside that will continuously condense back into form in order to keep cooling the processor, especially under very heavy loads. One thing that I will mention, however, as might be a trend in the upcoming year when it comes to these phones, there is actually a setting inside of what is called the Galaxy Labs features, which are supposed to be experimental, that you can actually remove the app drawer. Now, what they call it is just moving the icons over to the home screen and having all of them displayed on there. Now, we did see this in the LG G5 as well, which does not have an app drawer altogether, and the option in the Galaxy S7 shows us that there might be a trend moving towards this new change in Android skins. Now, the camera is an even bigger bump from before in the sense that they are using bigger pixels but less megapixels. You have an f1.7 aperture lens that has 1.4 micron sized pixels, and overall it's going to be a 12 megapixel rear shooter that should be able to bring in even more light because of the larger size of those pixels. It should be better all around, but low light shots should be even better than before. Going through the manual mode, you still get all of the different great features, including Kelvin readings in the white balance this time around, and also all of the different features to be able to cater the shot to what you need. Now, of course, we were only testing this in the meeting that we had with Samsung, so we weren't able to take any extensive photos or to really look at them, but if it's anything like the Note 5 or the Galaxy S6 from last year, then these cameras should be performing quite well. And finally, on the last bits of the hardware, the battery has been bumped up. Now, the original versions of the S7 and the S7 Edge have over 3,000 or at least 3,000 milliamp hours in their batteries. The S7 will have 3,000 and the larger S7 Edge will have 3,600 milliamp hours, which should bring quite a bit of longevity for a full day and hopefully 2 days worth of battery life. But of course, they still have the wireless charging available on these bodies, and then fast charging will allow the phone to charge up really quickly in a very short amount of time. Overall, the Galaxy S7 and the S7 Edge might not be making a whole lot of waves in terms of their announcements in the phone, but ultimately it is a great addition to the Galaxy line that takes some features that were in previous versions and finally brings them back. If you had the S6 and you wish that it had the features of, let's say, micro SD card slot, water and dust resistance, and you wish the power was even better, you're not going to get the replaceable batteries this time around, but at least the power has been bumped up, and this just might be the phone that you were waiting for if the S6 didn't do it enough for you. So keep it tuned to Android Authority. When we get our full review unit of the Galaxy S7 and the S7 Edge, we will give you all of our thoughts on it, especially talking about the camera and everything else that has been added into the newest Galaxy flagship. Keep it tuned here for even more about the Samsung Galaxy S7 and even more from MWC 2016, because we are your source for all things Android.